What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe. We have something really cool here today. This is the Temple of Gainz ISO-Lateral Linear Row V2. You guys know I have a lot of linear rows in my gym, so I'm no stranger to this movement, and I'm gonna get into it and tell you what I think about this, because this is not a cheap piece of equipment. This is something that, if you're seriously considering, you know, this is $2,200, I think, on their website right now. Very different than some of the other options that are out there. So, when Temple of Gainz released this machine, I had been speaking to Yoni about him developing some sort of linear row since the other linear rows had already dropped. First time I ever saw one was Mega Mass. That was a while back, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, that's so cool, right? Just being able to overload the movement that way and control it while they're on the linear path, in my opinion, is really cool. You guys know I love machines, obviously. If you saw my last video with my walkthrough, you know how many machines I have in my gym. So this gets us an adjustable foot plate, an adjustable back pad that goes forward and backwards, as well as the angle. We have adjustable handles on this as well. No bar. That was something that I critiqued. I know when people would ask me questions about the Mikolo, that I liked having a bar, and I wasn't sure about the ISO handles, but I hadn't used this machine. So 2 weeks into using this machine, the ISO handles are really good. Like, they hit the back really nicely, and being able to use them independently of one another for just one arm motions is really nice variation, because it gets you kind of more of a bent over dumbbell row per arm, rather than just being stuck with the bar. So that's really cool. I actually have come to like that. Now, you saw in my video, I actually took a wide pull down bar, wrapped it in grip so it wouldn't mar anything, and fed it through the handles, and was able to use that to mimic sort of like a bar movement. That gave me both a wide and a narrow grip on top of the handles that are here now. Is it perfect? Probably not. I mean, you have to be careful. It moves around a little if you don't have it positioned properly, but it does give me some variations that I don't get with just the handles. So I thought that was really cool. And that idea sort of that I had when I did that, sort of sky's the limit with whatever bar you can kind of get to fit in there. Now, disclaimer aside, I don't know how that's gonna impact the handles over time with like the grip that's on the bar or the handles rubbing on each other, but we'll see. Not afraid to beat up my equipment. The handles are swappable, so I guess if I had to order new handles from Temple of Gainz, I could, but I'm not sure I'm really concerned about that just from using the machine the way that I have. So first thing I'll say, the weight on this machine, the felt weight, is super heavy. I actually, looking back at the footage that I filmed for this video, I think I definitely have been going a little too heavy. I probably can get a little more angle to my back with a lower weight and stop using as much as my upper back, you know, as I am in some of my movements. So that's something I'll critique myself on. Very interesting, the handle position on this machine, because the way that the handles are positioned and the weight loads, it gets very close to your shin. So you're at a different angle when you're pulling compared to the Mikolo machine, because the Mikolo, you're up much higher when you're pulling. So I found this to be a more comfortable pull, honestly. At first I wasn't sure, because it was sort of foreign feeling for a machine, but then I realized it kind of felt more like what a barbell feels like, or a dumbbell felt like when I was doing those movements, a little closer to the shin. And my lower back, it did feel like it took some strain off of my lower back with it being at that angle. So I thought that was really cool. The handles don't articulate the way that the T-bar row does. I'm sort of up in the air right now whether I'd want them to articulate or not, because in my mind, I think that it would be cool for them to articulate, but then once you start doing the movement, you sort of forget that they don't articulate, that there's just like a straight pulling motion. Getting this machine, if you saw my pictures I had posted, came delivered by freight in a huge Temple of Gainz crate. No issues with the delivery, no issues with anything being damaged in the crate. Packaging was phenomenal. You know, it takes you 45 minutes even just to get all the stuff out of the packaging once you get the machine inside your house. It doesn't come built. I built it myself. I brought all the pieces down to the basement myself and built it all by myself. So these are definitely machines that you could put together by yourself, but by the time you get them together, they are heavy So make sure that you either have it in place where you're gonna build it, or you have the proper equipment or help to move it. If you see, I have some cardboard on the back legs of the machine, the back feet, because I use that to slide that across the floor after I've deadlifted the machine and started pushing it. So please bear in mind, you really wanna build it as close to where it's gonna be positioned as possible because these machines are super heavy. So the adjustable foot plate is really nice. You have a lot of adjustability there. You have a lot of adjustability in the back pad, so you can get a lot of different angles. Different people with different heights can use this machine. I'm still actually experimenting to see where I like to have that pad the most. That will give me the best movement of this machine. When it comes to assembly, again, had very little issue putting it together. It's actually a very straightforward machine. There's not much to it because it's really just linear rails with handles on a frame, right? With the bench hooked up to it. Temple of Gainz instructions don't come with paper instructions. They come online. Once you get it, you go on their website and you get the instructions. I would prefer to have paper instructions, but this allows them to make updates to the instructions very easily and to have them readily available because not everyone is as organized to keep paper instructions forever either. So even though I have a whole stack of paper instructions for every machine that I have. So some people like having them online, some people like having the paper ones. I would like to have a paper one, but using them online, really not that big of a deal either. Now, you saw in the video, not only was I doing regular rowing motions with this, ISO-Lateral rowing motions with this, I was also doing, the bar motion with this. I was doing RDLs, I was doing deadlifts with this machine. And you could see the number one thing that I see that's the difference between this machine and like the Mikolo, other than obviously the differences in build quality, is the ridiculously nasty range of motion you get on this machine. You can get so far down on this machine that when I went to go back and test out the Mikolo, it felt like I was doing like I don't even know if I'd call them half reps. Like the range of motion just felt like it was like from here to here. Whereas on this machine, like you really have the ability to go super deep on this and then go back up the other direction. So it's not even a contest as to a question of the range of motion between these different machines. This is bar none the most range of motion I've used on this linear row. So that's something to really keep in mind. Now, getting to the price of this machine compared to the Mikolo. This machine here is $2,200. The Mikolo, the last time I checked on Temu, you can get for $260. Obviously, that's a huge price gap between the two machines. But there's a reason for that. I mean, the build quality of this machine is so ridiculous that once you get on it and you start using it, you understand where part of that money goes. Not only that, when I talked about the range of motion, there's obviously a design difference between the two machines where you're getting so much more range of motion on this machine compared to the other machine. Now, that being said, I'm not sure they totally feed the same audience because looking at a machine and justifying a $2,200 machine is very different than a $260 machine. I really like the Mikolo machine still, but after using the Temple of Gainz machine and having it in my gym, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, I'm just as happy with this machine now that I have access to this machine. If I only had the Mikolo or if that was my option and I wanted to get, because if you think about it, $260 versus $2,200, you can get a couple other pieces of equipment in your gym rather than getting this machine, right? So if you don't mind sort of compromising to have multiple pieces in your gym, then I understand wanting the Mikolo, or if you're not using the linear row as a primary movement, you're just you want the movement in your gym, then yeah, the Mikolo machine is a good machine, especially for the money. Now, I'm never gonna be able to load the Mikolo machine up with as much weight as I put on here. I use 3 or 4 plates max on that machine, and it's heavy when you're doing it on that machine. This machine is just heavy. Even before you start putting plates on it, you're like, oh, okay, you're gonna have to change how much weight you're putting on this machine versus the others because of the weight of the machine overall. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I'm sure a lot of you want me to do like really big comparisons between the machines, and it's really difficult to do it because I just don't think it's fair to compare a $2,200 machine to a $260 machine. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy with the $260 Michelola. It's a great piece of equipment, but the range of motion is just not the same. I really like the bar and for hand placement on the Michelola. But if I had to choose between the two of them, I'm still gonna choose the Temple of Gainz machine because of the advantages that it has that I've already talked about. This has actually been a glaring thing for me to see the range of motion differences between machines. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I don't want you to think this review is just with zero negative at all, but the negative that I have isn't even about the movement of the machine or anything like that. And I'll sort of get into that for a second. So when I was building the machine, and I was putting it all together, this has a really nice grip tape on it for the foot plate. This is gonna be really nitpicky, honestly. So it's a $2,200 machine, and when I got it, I noticed that the foot plate was smooth. I was like, okay. But then in the crate, there was a roll of grip tape. Cool. So I had to trace the grip tape, cut it out, and put it on myself. Not a huge deal, but I could understand that if someone's buying a $2,200 machine, they wouldn't expect that they have to like trace and cut it themselves, because if you screw up, then you have like a janky looking foot plate. And then you have to reach back out, and it's like the email of shame, like, hey, I screwed up putting the grip tape on my machine. Is it possible I can get another machine? So I actually brought this up to Yoni, and I was like, listen, I'm sure you don't get a lot of complaints about this, but after putting together this machine, the last thing like I want to think about is cutting out the grip tape and placing it on the machine. And if you didn't think about putting the grip tape on the machine before you attach the foot plate, tracing the grip tape is going to be a real pain in getting it on there. So you want to make sure if you get this machine and it doesn't have the grip tape, that you trace it, cut it, and put it on the machine first. I actually, when I spoke to Yoni about it, I brought this to his attention, and he just told me, he's like, listen, going forward, we'll make sure that that grip tape is cut and put on the machines prior to it getting sent out to people. So if you don't want it on the machine when you place the order, maybe you want to tell them you don't want it on the machine. It is really nice grip tape, it works well. I just thought it was strange that you're spending this type of money on a machine and you gotta like do an arts project, arts and crafts to cut it out and put it on. So that was like my worst critique, I guess, about the machine. But everything else was smooth, man. Like it has band pegs on it. You could wrap around the top and put on the back weight pegs to get, to change the curve of the machine with the band pegs. I'm just looking forward to using this machine and using it a lot more than I have. And having the ISO movements that are kind of like dumbbell rows, and being able to do RDLs and feed that bar through the handle and just experiment with it, sky's the limits. Whereas with some of the other machines, like it kind of just is what it is. You have to use it the way that it is, and that's it. You get one movement at it, maybe a couple different handle positions. With this, you're able to adjust the handles. You're able to use one arm, two arms, enough range of motion to vary the movements. And then like I did, put the bar on there, or you could probably use some of those 90-degree rope handles or whatever they are to attach to this, and then get additional angles and stuff like that. And these handles come off too. So you could probably just take the handles off and, like I said, put some different type of rope type handles on there or something like that to get further adjustment. Now you also can do something like that with the Michelola, and with the S7 that I showed you, you can do an attachment on there to put any handle you want. So that's really cool. But you don't get the ISO movement with this with the one arm. Like this, with the one arm. You can't do those with the other machines that I've at least seen yet. So I know that Yoni speaks about doing some other movements on this, like bicep movements and stuff like that. I haven't really tried to do that yet. This has really just been like back focused since I got this machine. But if you're serious and you like serious commercial grade equipment, I think that this is a killer linear row. The only other one that I really saw that was out there that was similar to this was the Watson, which is like crazy expensive. Most of the other ones have, different variations of bars onto them. And I'm still not convinced that there isn't a way to design a bar for this machine. I'm sure someone out there is gonna be able to do it better than me by slipping just a bar through it. So I'm curious to keep experimenting with this machine. There's gonna be a link in the description to Temple of Gainz on this. If you guys are looking to pick up something like this or some of the other machines that I have, they're great quality. Like when I get them, I don't get them because I plan to sell them and get them out of the gym. If you notice, there's no Temple of Gainz pieces in my gym that I've gotten rid of, whereas there's pieces from like every other brand that I've had that I eventually upgrade and leave my gym. So if you have questions, please, I'm sure I missed something. Make sure you put them in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you stay tuned. I have more gym reviews coming for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.